Today's album could be best described as being aggressively weird. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the album Surreal by the Conjuration. Now, the Conjuration is not a band, but is rather the project of one man, Corey Jason. And this guy's got a fucking great mind for music. Hailing from the most boring city in Virginia, Danville, the Conjuration is a crazy, crazy avant-black schizoid bit of metal project that's happening. With this album, Surreal, Corey aims to basically continue his trend from the previous album before and basically express his thoughts and emotions in form of music. Obviously, someone must go stir crazy living in such a fucking boring town, because this music is fucking bonkers. It sounds as if Opeth met Mr. Bungle and they did acid together, and Between the Buried and Me came in late and they all had an orgy. A one-man project. Corey handles everything. You know, the guitar, the vocals, the bass, the drums, the writing, everything. It's a 9-track album, and, the tracks are all of varying lengths, including a cover by In Flames of Friend, or Fiend, however you want to put it. And it is a hell of an album. But like I said, it's aggressively weird. I would, just like the A Umbra Omega that we discussed the other day, the tracks are so packed with insanity that I almost can't get into the specifics behind how ridiculous it sounds. Whereas with an Umbra Omega, the songs were long and so detailed I couldn't expand on them as much as I'd like because there was so much going on. It's just the same case here, but in a different way. The tracks on Surreal are, of a decent length, the longest one being around 10 minutes, but they're all around 4 to 5 minutes in length. However, in that time, the music is just ass-fucked with so many different styles and approaches and takes that I could not sit here and talk about everything, mainly because I don't remember everything that goes on, because there is so much happening. It's like trying to break down a Mr. Bungle song and try and say, okay, this happens, then that, but then that happens, and then next thing you know, you're like, am I even talking about the same goddamn song? The first thing that I noticed about this album was the fantastic cover art. Shout out to the guy who did it. I believe his name was Carlos, that Corey told me. I've been talking to the artist behind this work, the artist behind the music, Corey Jason. I liked his page of the Conjuration and another band page of his, and basically he added me on Facebook, and it turns out that we have very similar tastes in music and films. I took a look on the Conjuration's Facebook page. Corey's favorite band is Opeth, of course, so it's a great start there. And his favorite musician is Adrian Lucassen, who is the legendary man behind bands like Arion and Star One. So that's some good stuff going on here when this guy's inspired by the likes of Adrian Lucassen and Opeth, as well as movie makers like Fred Vogel and Andrei Iskanov. That someone who's into this shit and into other avant-garde musics is going to make something crazy. And that's exactly what happened here. Aggressively crazy and aggressively weird is the best way to describe it. This album is definitely not for everybody, but I think it is worth a listen if you're into metal at all. Because the thing is, just like A Umbra Omega did, this album has its sections where it is aggressively violent in the metal, and then it has its sections where it goes off into unknown crazy realms. It's a little, it gets a little long at times as far as the full cover-to-cover listen, but, a few songs here and there, if you just want to jam, it's perfect for just jamming to a song or two. But the great thing is the atmosphere is thick as fuck. And the clock will ring, thank you. Yeah, we're going to have that a few times. The atmosphere here is thick as fuck. It's funny because Corey says that, he thinks it's funny that people are calling his music insane and chaotic when in all reality he's just writing down what he thinks and feels. And, hey, I think that's great because this is the kind of music that if I was able to make music, I would love to make. I love music that just fucking puts me out of my head and it's like, what the fuck is going on? And I found myself saying that several times during my listens to Surreal. You know, you never know what's going to come next. But, however, now comparing it to an album like a Umbra Omega by Dodheimsgard, or Dodheimsgard, whatever it is, the metal sections there tended to end up all sounding the same, and the production was kind of, you know, I sort of said it was like a blunt weapon. In this, it is very violent, it is very aggressive, and it's in your face. It's the screamings of a mental patient. Props on the brutal and just agonized, intense vocals here. You know, it is just fucking guys screaming his head off, and it works so well. The lyrics just fit with the aesthetic, and it is fucking intense. It's relentless. It does not let up. The metal parts are great, but I think the album is at its best when it veers into the experimental and strange territories. Just like a Umbra Omega, the metal parts tend to be the glue that hold together the other experimental sections. And as such, those tend to be not as interesting as the bizarre experimental sections are, because those are the things that we came to the album to hear. Of course, we like the good, brutal, fucking heavy slamming metal. The fucking, you know, it's, and I can't even put a genre on it. It's like not even a death metal, it's not a black metal, it's just an extreme metal. It's just violent metal. It is fucking angry. It's not grindcore. It's just fucking pissed off, fucking insane metal. And the screams and the music behind it just fucking, it'll rip your face off. It's brutal. And then when it gets into the slower, more controlled sections, the ambient bits, where it gets progressive and strange, that's where the album shines for me. If you want something that is really bizarre, that basically, I would, upon my second listening, I definitely got some serious Between the Buried and Me vibes, like happening on Colors during some of the more aggressive moments. And, you know, of course, with the Opeth Mr. Bungle acid orgy. It was fantastic. You know, it felt like I didn't know what was going to come next. It felt like a hallucinogenic trip ride through hell. It felt like it ought to be the soundtrack for Where the Dead Go to Die, one of my favorite horror movies that I did a review of a while back. This thing was just insane, and I really felt like the cover art as I'm looking at it, I felt like I was inside of it. And that's one of the things I like about an album. If the cover art feels like it matches what I'm listening to, then it's definitely worthwhile. It's highly technical, highly crazy and bizarre, aggressively so. It is basically... And Corey Jason is a really wonderful guy. I think he's really cool. We have a lot in common. And, you know, his frustrations and his emotions and negativity that we all may deny that we have, but we know deep down inside of us there's a monster lurking. Corey lets this out within his music, and it is fucking top-notch. It's a bit of a heavy listen because it is just so heavy and brutal and intense and will beat the fuck out of your skull. But if you are into this kind of crazy music, just like Metal Storm said, it's a good listen if you're profusely insane. I agree, and I am profusely insane with what I listen to, so this is an immediate recommendation for me. I loved not knowing what was coming next. I loved the aggressive, violent, insane style, and the fact that you are being dragged, kicking and screaming into Corey's audio world here, this sonic world, is amazing. It is a world of insanity, dissonance, shit flying left and right, of hallucinogenic craziness, brutality, anger, and rage, and just bizarre craziness. This album is just a serious, pissed off, insane clusterfuck. You really need to listen to this. Now here's the best part. Go check out his Bandcamp right down there in the description. This album is free, as is his previous work. And it comes with, you know, wallpaper, lyrics, and instrumental versions of the tracks. If you're not really as into the vocals, you think it's a little too aggressive, or you just want to listen to the more the music behind the vocals, you know, you just want to hear the sonic aspect of it. There's an instrumental section on there of all the tracks. The In Flames cover is great. It's not trying to be like, Macho Man, I'm going to cover In Flames. He takes the song and, of course, makes it his own, and it's fantastic. And it's all completely free for you to download. You can name your price, obviously, and I suggest, you know, throwing some money at this guy because he is fantastic. He's in the process of writing another album. There's no fucking stopping him. I love his vision. I love what he's doing, and I highly recommend that even if you just want to download it for free, take a look. Give it a listen. Spread it around. This guy, his music is fucking out there and it needs to be heard. It is fucking fantastic and I love the shit out of it. And make sure you get the remastered version of Surreal. I'm not even sure if the original version is still up on his Bandcamp. The remastered version is basically an inverted version of the cover art. That's how you know that's the remastered version. Man, it says so. It's fucking great. You need to hear it. I fucking loved it. It's a mix mash of so many styles of pure rage and aggression and insanity, and it's fucking perfect. It may go on a little too long, but that's why you might want to just listen to a few tracks here and there, or if you want to listen to the whole thing, whatever will. It'll fit your mood if you're pissed off, or you just want something crazy, or you just want to trip the fuck out to it. Whatever it is a fantastic album that I highly recommend you check out. Link down there in the description. Corey, I know you're watching, so you should be proud of yourself, man. You fucking blew it out of the park with this one. I can't wait to hear more of what you got. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming out. My name is Kenshin. Rock the fuck on.